I'm sure you've seen them this summer season. They have been all over the internet. They have been in every magazine. They have been in the stores. Dollar Tree has even had a version of them. And they have been called every name under the sun. Decorative spheres, jute twine balls, nautical rope balls. They've been called decorative filler balls. You name it, they've been called it. I don't care what they've been called. I think they're beautiful. However, what I don't think is beautiful is their price. I have seen them ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Dollar Tree was the most reasonable, but the size was very small. I did buy one, but it would take very many to fill up a bowl or a dough bowl because the size was so small. But they were absolutely beautiful. I mean, and the quality was phenomenal for Dollar Tree. And then Target Dollar Spot had one that was slightly bigger for $3. But for those, you know, a little bit more money. And then Pottery Barn had some. They were, oh Lord, anywhere from $58 to $85. I'm sorry, I'm too thrifty for that. That is absolutely out of the question. Ain't nobody got time for that. No way. Hobby Lobby had some for anywhere from $8 to $10. I'm not, no. So I was at Dollar Tree and I found some wiffle balls, set of 4. And so I bought some wiffle balls. And then I bought 2 of the natural colored jute twine and a smaller version of the jute twine. And then some white nautical rope. And the jute twine, I call it jute twine. It's actually the very thick nautical rope. So I bought 2 of those, and then it's kind of in between jute twine and nautical rope. It's kind of like a medium thickness. I bought 1 of those, and then the beautiful white nautical rope that they carry. So I bought 2, 1, and 1, and then a pack of wiffle balls. So less than $7. I bought everything that I needed to make 4 of these decorative jute spheres. I guess that's what I'm going to call mine. That just kind of came out. So come craft with me. I started my project out with these plastic balls that I picked up at the Dollar Tree. They come in a pack of 4. I call them wiffle balls. They're just little plastic balls that I bought in the outdoor section, and the nautical rope that I purchased at the Dollar Tree. And I just started hot gluing them around the center of this plastic outdoor ball. I just added a line of hot glue, and then I just started wrapping the nautical rope around the center just to kind of form a little bit of a line. And I left one of the edges kind of open, and then I just started making my way around the ball and just started working my way toward the end and laying the rope as close together as I could till I got to the end. And I did not use the scissors. I was using my tin snips for this because I found that it was the best. I tried to cut it with the scissors, and I just found that the tin snips worked a little bit better with this nautical rope. And then I just added some hot glue and just kind of wound that in and cut that as even as I could, and then just laid that in until the end was nice and covered, and just kind of, you know, covered that in with the hot glue and made sure that that was nice and laid flat against the ball and nice and even finish. And then I took the white nautical rope and did the same process, just laid it as close as I could against the nautical rope, the natural nautical rope, because I thought maybe this would be just kind of a pretty detail. Just kind of give it a little bit of a pretty detail with the white rope and the natural rope together, just to kind of give it a little bit. And then when I got it almost to the end, I decided that I was going to put my little loop, my little handle on the end. So I just, once again, I was trying really hard to cut it. This was a little bit of that thinner, almost in between the Dupe twine and the thick nautical rope. So I made my handles out of it, my little rope rings. I made that out of the smaller twine. It's kind of between like I said, the jute rope and the nautical rope, and then the jute twine. There's two different kinds, and then that one was finished. There's no distinction on the tag. You can just tell by looking that one is a little bit thicker than the other. For my second ball, I kind of crisscrossed the nautical rope and kind of made a little bit of a, just a little bit of a kind of a crisscross, and kind of looped it so it had a little bit of a knot, because I thought instead of a round sphere or an orb, I kind of wanted to do something a little bit different. So I added just a little bit of a kind of I don't know, an oblong shape to it. And so once I had that all secured in with some hot glue, I started with the nautical rope. I just cut some pieces of these smaller, the smaller rope, and I would just kind of cut that and laid that in between the pieces of the thicker rope that I had wrapped in around this plastic ball. My voiceovers always make me a little nervous because I'm never quite sure if I know how to explain things in the correct manner. But I just went in. It probably took about 4 to every little section, and I just kind of cut them. The middle was a little bit longer, and then the sides were a little bit smaller. And so I just cut them and arranged them, and then I would hot glue them in. And I thought maybe this kind of gave it a little bit of an egg shape, the way I kind of knotted and looped it around. But I thought it really kind of gave it a unique shape, something different than what I had seen before in the different magazines and online. And I kind of wanted to do something a little bit different and give my spheres just a different shape. And so I just kind of cut them and laid them as close together as I could. And I took that smaller rope and I just laid them in and fit them in as closely as I could. And I just kind of went all around my little plastic ball, and I cut them and laid them in and hot glued them in. It was just a little bit time consuming, but when I got the finished product done, I was really pleased with it. And I thought that it actually was kind of eye-catching, and it kind of had a little bit of a high-end look, and I was really kind of pleased with it. I tucked the ends of it in underneath the rope that I had kind of twisted around so that the ends wouldn't fray and it didn't show. And so you couldn't really tell that it was cut and pieced together. And I don't No, I just really kind of like the looks of this one. And then the wiffle ball didn't show underneath it, and the little gaps. I made sure all the little gaps were closed in. And it just, I don't, it just really kind of, I like the looks of it. And then once I kind of got to the last section, or the next to the last section, then I went ahead and made the little rope handle on it, because I used the last section then to really close in all of the pieces so that none of the plastic ball would show. And so I wanted to make sure that the little rope handle was in before I kind of tucked in everything and filled in all of the little gaps. And so, like I said, it was a little time consuming, but I thought it was very well worth it. And I thought I was really pleased with the outcome. And the end piece was just a little tad bit smaller than the rest of it. And the little wiffle balls with the holes was a little challenging kind of sometimes to work around, but I really kind of like the way this decorative sphere kind of came out. And it was something a little bit different, kind of an egg shape. For my next one, I chose the off-white or the white nautical rope, and I started at the top, which for a ball, you really don't choose a top, but I started at the top and I just kind of wound it around and did a bead of hot glue, and I just wound it as closely as I could together, and I just glued it and wrapped it and glued it and wrapped it until the whole ball was covered in the nautical rope, and made sure everything was tightly fit together. And I held it until the glue had dried, and was careful not to burn myself. And then I just filled in the top little section with my rope, and I cut that. The white is a lot softer and easier to manipulate than the natural jute rope is. And I didn't put a little handle on it. I just left it as is. For my last one, I cut 4 sections. They were probably about 4 inches, and I cut about 4 sections, 12 total. And I cut about 4-inch sections, and then I just laid them together in groups of 4. I wanted this one to be a little bit bigger, and so I didn't just wrap the ball completely in the twine. I kind of wanted it to have a larger girth, so that's why I cut these sections. And if you don't want your ball to be bigger, then this is entirely unnecessary, and I probably did make more work for myself, but it's just I thought maybe when I put my balls together, my spheres together, and displayed them together, that I did not want them all to be the same size. So actually what I did was I took my jute rope and I glued them end to end in sections of 4, and I left a little gap, and it's hard to see, but I left a little gap kind of in the middle where they were kind of like a little bridge. And so there was a little bit of gap in between where I had glued them. So they were just a little bit bigger than the actual ball. And then I went to the other side and I glued the other sections together, and left another little gap around the ball so that it would be a little bit bigger. And then I just 4 sections together, leaving it just a little bit larger than the ball, kind of looped it over, and I made sure that that was all. I held it really tight until the glue dried so that it would be nice and secure around the ball. Then I went to the other side, and then did the same thing on top of the jute rope, and not the ball, and left it just a little bit of a gap and kind of glued it end over end, leaving just a little bit of a gap, and glued 4 sections together on top of the jute rope, so it would be just a little bit bigger than the actual little plastic ball. So then I went to the other side and did the exact same thing, making sure that it was just a little bit bigger. And then I went to another section and kind of did the same thing, leaving it just a little bit bigger and leaving a gap and kind of just making it a little bit larger. So I actually kind of messed up. I got in the middle of crafting and I did not realize that the camera had shut off. And then I went over the top of that, leaving another section, leaving another gap. And I had some in the coastal section, they sell the tan and white twine. That's absolutely beautiful. And what I had actually done when I had all of these larger sections glued end over end is I went over this entire ball and wrapped it messily with this beautiful coastal tan and white twine, and just kind of made a very large, beautiful, messy twine ball. And I do have a picture of what I did, and I am so sorry. When I got to the end and I got it done and I realized that I wasn't filming, I was just heartsick. And I have seen other creators and I say, oh, thought I was filming and I wasn't, and it just was kind of an oopsie daisy. And then it happened to me and I was like, oh yeah, that does happen. So I apologize. But I put another little handle on the top of that, and then I just messily wrapped the entire thing. So there's a picture of my messily wrapped ball. It's a slightly larger than everything else. I chose to display this not in a dobo. My grandmother had this old basket that she used. It's a wire basket, and she used to keep it out on the cabinet and store her eggs in it. So that's what I chose to put my little spheres in. Not only do I love them, I love the price. I hope that you enjoyed crafting with me and seeing what I came up with and what my vision for these little decorative spheres was. The beauty of crafting is that you can just kind of sit down and start laying out a design and just come up with your own, take some inspiration here and there, just come up with your own design and make whatever is in front of you. You can just make it your own and make it beautiful. So don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so that you know when I've uploaded my next video, and give me a thumbs up and have a great week. Thanks for watching Crafts, Laughs, and Chaos.